Festus! How many times did I call you? You want to kill all of us in this house, right? You will kill all of us, for you have peace.
Obin, please, I want to go inside. I'm very tired now.
You say you are tired? What have you done today that gives you the right to be tired?
As for this house, you are not coming inside today, at least not while I'm still alive. Mrs. Ichedioa reappeared from the backyard with a pot of boiling water, which she poured all over him. That serves you right, stupid man.
Chiamaka!
He called her by her first name in a very astonished tone.
Chiamaka!
I want to show you my hut.
I want us to continue our conversation there.
That man gets
The
money
one
well
whose
out.
praises were always sung in the area where she lived. Wait until you see my bedroom. Peeking out in the room. When they were done, the elder asked her, "Beautiful woman, you haven't told me your name." Chiamaka. She pecked him on his freckled cheeks before leaving his house. The days turned into weeks and weeks into months, and the two continued their clandestine affair. He pulled her hand and said, "Chi, I love you so much, and I want you to be with me. I want you to move into my house tomorrow morning. But you know fully well that I am a married woman. How can I leave my husband and children to be with you? I want you to leave your husband and stay with me." Long ago, in the village of Amanku, lived a family, the family of Mr. Ichedioa. They lived in a very dilapidated hut on the outskirts of the village. Mr. and Mrs. Ichedioa had 3 children, a boy and 2 girls, named Chiamaka, Amanda, and Neka. The family of Mr. Ichedioa was very poor. Mr. Ichedioa, who used to be a farmer, had recently had his land snatched from him by one of the village chiefs. So he was currently not working, but was endlessly looking for something to do. Amanda and Neka assisted their mother in her petty trading business, and would also do manual labor jobs for people from time to time, while their brother, Chiamaka, had just started a small fishery business beside the village market. It was from the little money they made collectively from these businesses that they managed to feed themselves. They were barely able to afford a complete day's meal for everyone in the family, and this made everyone very unhappy and depressed. Mrs. Ichedioa was particularly frustrated and tired of the whole situation. She was tired of living hand to mouth and all the suffering, which made her very hostile and nagging towards her husband and children. She would usually shout at her husband at every opportunity, and whenever her children asked if she had prepared any food for them, she would respond, "Why are you asking me? Did your father bring any money for food? Go and ask that useless father of yours," she would say in anger. She would also look for every slight opportunity to fight with her husband, provoking him seriously, so he would lay his hand on her, and then she would beat him up, seeing that she was far younger and more energetic than he was. Her parents had married her off at a very young age to Mr. Ichedioa, who was a very wealthy farmer and trader at the time. One day, as Mr. Ichedioa came back from his usual daily search for work, he found his wife standing in front of the gate to their compound with her hands on her hips. She looked very angry. "Good evening, my dear. What is the problem?" he greeted and asked upon noticing her expression.
Festus!
She said, calling her husband by his first name. "Festus, Festus.
How many times did I call you?
Festus, what is so good about this evening? What is so good about this evening, eh?"
You want to kill all of us in this house, right? You will kill all of us, for you have
She
peace.
shouted, grabbing her husband by the shirt. Mr. Ichedioa gritted his teeth angrily, but kept his cool. He was already used to his wife's usual antics, so he wasn't even a bit surprised. He knew his wife was just agitated about the situation in the house. They all were. Trying his best to keep his cool, he turned to his angry wife, gently pulling her hands off his shirt as he said,
Obin, please, I want to go inside. I'm very tired now.
"We can discuss whatever the issue is later," he said to her in a tired voice, but the statement only provoked his already bitter wife further. "Who is OBM? Who is OBM? Festus? Don't call me that ever again."
You say you are tired? What have you done today that gives you the right to be tired?
Is it the gallivanting around the village square all day that makes you tired? Your fellow men are busy working. Only the gods know what you have been doing with your time. She then paused and glanced briefly at the gate before turning back to her husband as she continued. As for this house, you are not coming inside today, at least not while I'm still alive, she said, covering the gate with her body and her hands fixed to the sides of the gate. You must go and find work like your fellow men. I will not continue feeding you in this house while you just walk around the village aimlessly every day, pretending like you are looking for a job. That will stop today, Festus. Leave this house now. Go and get something doing for yourself, she finally said as she tried pushing her husband out of the gate with one hand while still holding onto the side of the gate with the other. Mr. Ichedioa, clearly tired of his wife's display, tried to go around her into the house, but she just pushed him away defiantly. Mr. Ichedioa, who already felt very insulted by his wife's actions, wasn't having it anymore. He charged towards her by the gate, pushed her out of it, and then entered the house. His wife immediately dashed into the backyard, but oblivious to her malicious intentions, Mr. Ichedioa paid her no mind. Just as he was about to enter the house, Mrs. Ichedioa reappeared from the backyard with a pot of boiling water, which she poured all over him. That serves you right, stupid man, she said after completing her evil deed with a devilish smile. Mr. Ichedioa screamed out in disbelief. He had always known that his wife had her own problems, but he never thought that she, the woman he had taken very good care of all these years, would do such a thing to him because of a petty fight.
Chiamaka!
He called her by her first name in a very astonished tone.
Chiamaka!
What did you just do? He said in English. He had luckily jumped out of the way when the hot water first struck his skin, but unluckily for him, the water had already touched and burned his chest. Are you all right? He asked while still holding his scalded chest. You just poured boiling hot water over me because of a petty fight? Chiamaka? When did you become like this? I never thought you, the woman I have known, loved, and taken care of all these years, could be this wicked, he finally said in disappointment, walking inside without sparing his wife a second glance. Mrs. Ichedioa, on her own, wasn't even remorseful, not one bit. She was only angry that the hot water hadn't burned her husband completely. Come back here, you stupid man, she said. Did I even say man? Who made you a man? You are nothing but a stupid boy, she said, pursuing her injured husband. Hey, Mr. Boy, look at me. We are not done with our conversation yet, she continued. When their children came back and saw the massive injury their mother had inflicted on their father, they were very astonished and angry. They knew their mother always behaved terribly towards their father and its several horrible antics, but this was something they hadn't expected, even in their wildest dreams. Mama, did Papa just say you did this to him? Their eldest daughter said as she rushed from their father's side to their mother, who just stood by the door, staring blankly and unrepentantly. Their mother, unfazed by her question, didn't even glance at her, let alone answer. Mama, answer me, she continued, demanding answers as she grabbed her mother by the shoulder and shook it violently. Her brother, on the other hand, had already rushed to their mother, holding the side of her wrapper while saying in a menacing tone, Mama, if you don't speak up, you might not like what I will do. But Mrs. Ichedioa remained unfazed. She shrugged her daughter's hands off her and said, Why are you people asking me stupid questions when you have a stupid father? Go and ask him all your questions. He will answer you. You people should stop disturbing me. I want to sleep. She said this as she stormed out of the room. The son wanted to run after their mother, but his sister held him back. Agozi, just leave it. No matter how we talk to her, she's never going to say anything. She's just going to continue raining abuses on Papa, and Papa doesn't need all this now. He needs us to take care of him, not to be busy fighting with Mama. Let's go, she said, steering her brother back into the room, away from the door to where their father was lying. Agozi took one last glance at the door, biting his lips in anger, and then followed his sister to tend to their injured father. One day, as Mrs. Ichedioa was returning from her shop in the market square, an elderly man approached and stopped her. Good evening, Naani, she greeted him. Hey, beautiful woman, how are you doing? The elder asked. Thank you, Naani. I'm fine, Mrs. Ichedioa replied, smiling. They had a brief, light conversation, and then the elder suddenly told her,
Do you know how beautiful you are, woman?
I have been monitoring you, and I have noticed that you usually take this path on your way back from work, so I decided to meet up with you today, he said to her while staring at her luridly. Thank you for your praises. I really appreciate it. The pleasure is all mine. I want to show you my hut.
I want us to continue our conversation there.
Mrs. Ichedioa hesitated at the suggestion for a while, but then she obliged him with a smile. "Okay, Naani, let's be going," she said, and with that, she followed the man to his house. When she entered the hut, she saw a kind of magnificence she had never known existed in her life before. The design was exquisite and intricate, and everything in the house looked so expensive. During their conversation in the house, she discovered that the man wasn't just a village chief as she had suspected upon inspecting the house, but was actually the richest of all village chiefs.
That man get
The
money
one
well
whose
out.
praises were always sung in the area where she lived. "Nani, your home is very beautiful," she remarked coyly. The elder smiled with pride and then said boastfully, "You haven't even seen anything yet. Wait until you see my bedroom," he said as he steered Mrs. Ichedioa in the direction of his bedroom. Mrs. Ichedioa followed him, and indeed, the bedroom was just as magnificent as he claimed it to be. As she was about to turn to leave, the elder hugged her from the back, and they began making out in the room. When they were done, the elder asked her, "Beautiful woman, you haven't told me your name," he asked curiously. "Chiamaka," she replied while still smiling from what had just happened between them. She was very happy to have finally attracted a rich man who could cater for her. "Okay, Chiamaka, can I see you tomorrow?" he asked. "Of course," she said, still smiling. She pecked him on his freckled cheeks before leaving his house. The following day, she visited the rich chief as she had promised, and like the previous day, they made out again. And like that, the days turned into weeks and weeks into months, and the two continued their clandestine affair. One day, during one of their clandestine meetings, as Mrs. Ichedioa was about to leave the chief's house, he pulled her hand and said, "Chi, I love you so much, and I want you to be with me. I want you to move into my house tomorrow morning," he told her while staring at her expectantly. "But you know fully well that I am a married woman. How can I leave my husband and children to be with you?" Mrs. Ichedioa said, feigning concern for her family. She pretended to be concerned, but deep within her, she was very happy that the chief had finally said what had been on her mind for the past couple of months. She had been looking for a way to leave her husband and had expected the chief to suggest something like this, but just not as late as he did. The chief stared thoughtfully at her and then said, after a prolonged silence, "Look, Chi, I am fully aware that you are married. You have even told me that before several times, and I am still telling you to stay with me. What does that suggest to you?" He paused, looking at her for a moment before continuing. "I want you to leave your husband and stay with me. You have complained to me 1,000 times about how irresponsible and poor your husband is. I would be able to take care of you very well and give you the kind of life you can never dream of having with your husband," he said, still staring at her with intent. "But how about my children? Should I just leave them like that?" she asked, still appearing innocent. She had long planned to abandon her children if the need arose. "You can come with them if you wish, but I doubt your husband will allow that, so it's better you come alone. What do you say, Chi?" he finally asked. "Okay, I will think about it. Tomorrow then," she said and left. The next day, when the entire household of Mr. Ichedioa had woken up, they were shocked to see their mother with bags already packed up on her way out of the compound. Her first son rushed up to her, stopping her in her tracks. "Mama," he said, running up to her. "Mama, what is this? Where are you taking all these bags to?" he asked, his mother looking confused. "I'm leaving this house and your useless father. When he gets up, tell him I've already left, never to return," she told her son defiantly. The son, in utter confusion, continued going back and forth with his mother, not allowing her to go, which attracted the attention of the other family members. "Mama, where are you going?" the first and second daughters asked in unison. "Obum, you didn't tell me you were traveling," Mr. Ichedioa commented, still oblivious to the entire situation. "Festus, I warned you several times to stop calling me that name. I am not your heart. Go and look for it elsewhere if you lost it. And yes, I didn't tell you I was traveling because I'm not actually traveling. I'm leaving you in this godforsaken house," she said, storming off. As Mr. Ichedioa realized what was happening, both he and his children moved swiftly to beg their mother to reconsider her decision, but she just shrugged them off and stormed outside the compound gate without sparing her husband or even her crying children a second glance. Mr. Ichedioa and his children were very devastated after their mother left. Despite everything Mrs. Ichedioa did, Mr. Ichedioa always loved his wife dearly and prayed to the gods to give her a change of heart. He also prayed for financial blessings and to get work quickly, so his wife could return to the sweet woman he had always known her to be. He and his children waited endlessly every day with hopes that one day their mother would return, but to no avail. They never saw her in that house again. A few months later, when they had finished their morning chores and everyone was very moody, thinking about their mother, the first daughter, Amanda, who was fed up with the entire situation of the family, spoke up. "Papa, ago, Enini," she started, calling for the attention of everyone in the house. "Papa, I have made up my mind. When I was passing through the stream yesterday, on my way back from the market, I met an old woman. I greeted her, and she noticed that I wasn't looking happy. When she asked me what the problem was, I told her about everything that had happened in our family over the last few months. She then looked at me carefully and told me about an ancient mage who lived across the main river in Umuachi village. She could grant anything you desired if you passed her test. She then advised me to visit the mage to see if I could get some solutions to our problems. She also told me that the mage only came out on full moon nights. And as you all know, tomorrow night is a full moon. So I'm leaving for Umuachi village tomorrow morning to seek the mage and her blessings," she finally said, staring at everyone in front of her. "Are you out of your senses, Amanda? Haven't you heard of how dangerous that village is?" her brother asked her in anger. "It's true, and they are especially very violent towards outsiders. Amanda, please, we have already lost Mama. We don't want to lose you too," her younger sister said, still holding her hand amid sobs. Her father just stared on intently. After a while, he started, "Amanda, I understand the reason why you want to embark on this journey, and I'm even proud of you for your thoughtfulness, but your siblings are right. This journey is just too dangerous, and it's not worth it. What has happened has happened. You are not going anywhere, and that is my final decision," Mr. Ichedioa said with a tone of finality. She opened her mouth, still wanting to say something, but then caught herself and just said, "Yes, Papa," feigning obedience. She just said that to please her father and to set them at ease so they would not suspect her movements the next day, as she already knew her family would oppose her decision. But she had made up her mind, and no one was going to stop her. She was going to get up very early the next morning and leave before anyone even woke up. The next day, Amanda did as she planned, and when Mr. Ichedioa and the rest of her siblings woke up, Amanda was nowhere to be seen. Where could Amanda have gone so early in the morning? Her younger sister asked herself while searching everywhere for her sister. As if realization just dawned on Chiamaka, her brother, he turned and shouted, "Papa Neka, do you remember the journey Amanda spoke about embarking on yesterday? Do you remember she said the mage she spoke of would only come out on the full moon? And tonight is a full moon?" She had probably left for the journey, Chiamaka said to the others with certainty. "Yes, I remember," their father said as he put a thoughtful hand on his chin. "But I thought I told her not to go on that journey." And she agreed. Her father muttered to himself thoughtfully, "Yes, Papa, probably she just pretended to agree, so we wouldn't suspect anything or try to stop her today. We can't do anything now, Papa, but just pray to the gods that Amanda returns to us safely," Neka said as she hugged her father, crying. Amanda, on the other hand, was already long gone from their village and was approaching Umuachi village. She crossed the border easily and located the river the woman had told her about. But just as she was about to cross it to the other side in search of the mage, she saw a very old woman who seemed blind, trying to fetch water from the stream to no avail. She would pick up her calabash and try to scoop the water, but in the end, she would end up scooping air, as it seemed like the woman wasn't seeing the water. This woman seems blind. Moreover, she is too old to be fetching water with a calabash of that size. I will go and help her. Later, I can continue with my journey. And who knows? Maybe we might even be going in the same direction, she thought to herself as she approached the old woman. "Good afternoon, Mama," she greeted the old woman. "Good afternoon, NWAM," the old woman replied warmly. "Mama, that calabash looks too heavy for you. Let me help you with it," she told the old woman, reaching for the calabash in her hands. "But NWAM, you are going somewhere, and you seem to be in a hurry. I don't want to disturb you," the old woman said, protesting but not stopping Amanda from collecting the water pot from her. Amanda took the pot from the old woman and began fetching water in it as she continued. No, don't worry about me, Mama. I can continue with the journey anytime, as where I'm going is not far anymore. Let's go, she said to the old woman as she finished fetching the water and guided her as they left. When the old woman finished crossing the stream and had walked a distance, Amanda was so shocked by what she saw next that the water pot almost fell due to her trembling hands. She saw a massive shrine suddenly appear in front of her, and the old woman she was helping transform into a young maiden. But before she could ask questions, an elderly woman stepped out of the shrine and started addressing her. Good afternoon, my daughter. I know that what you seek in this land, and, as you know, I only grant wishes to people who are worthy. I already saw that you were coming here today, and I know your mission. So I sent my messenger here. She pointed at the young maiden who had just finished transforming from the old woman, to test you to see if you were worthy of my help. She took a deep breath before continuing. My messenger is the only one who knows the way to my domain, and she only shows it to people who are worthy of my help, she said before turning to the shrine. Shortly after, she entered and came out with an artifact that looked like an amulet. Take this, my daughter. You have proven yourself worthy of my help, and this is my gift to your father. You will need this soon. Go now. Your problem is solved. The mage finally told her, and then the shrine, along with the mage and the messenger, vanished. The next day, Amanda returned to her village, and as she approached her father's hut, she saw everyone seated as if they were already expecting her. When they spotted her, they hugged her and welcomed her inside their hut. After she had settled down and eaten, she began recounting her experience during the journey and her encounter with the mage and her messenger. She also gave her father the artifact the mage had given her, telling him about the mage's words regarding the artifact. Her father and the rest of her siblings were very happy, and they thanked the gods of their land for preserving their daughter and making her journey fruitful. Several months later, the king was in need of a particular amulet for a ritual. The amulet was so rare that only two existed, one of which was hidden deep in the evil forest of Amana Kingdom, 7 villages away from theirs, and the other had been long lost and forgotten. The king promised that whoever brought even one of the amulets first would be rewarded with a lot of land, cattle, gold, and other precious stones, as well as a lifetime of fortune for him, his family, and his generations to come. When the king described the kind of amulet he was looking for, all the men in the village began making preparations to set out to Amana Kingdom in search of the amulet. But when Chiamaka heard the description of the amulet, he quickly realized it was the same one Amanda, his sister, had given their father a few months back from the mage. I have to tell Papa about this immediately before he joins the rest of the men heading to Umuachi village, he thought to himself as he dashed to their hut. Papa, 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 I have good news, he exclaimed as he spotted his father from a distance, running in excitement. What is it, my son? Mr. Ichedioa asked, looking confused while trying to calm his overly excited son down. Papa, our story is about to change for the better, Chiamaka shouted with excitement. Papa, you know that amulet Amanda gave to you a few months ago from the mage she visited? You remember it, right? He asked, staring at his confused father and barely able to contain his excitement. Yes, my son, I remember. Is there anything with it? Mr. Ichedioa asked, still trying to figure out where his son was going with the question. Papa, you know that the king is looking for a special amulet and has promised a lifetime of fortune to the first person who brings it, even if it's just one of them, right? Chiamaka asked rhetorically before continuing. Papa, can you believe that when I inquired about the kind of amulet the king was looking for, its description was exactly the same as the one Amanda gave you? That means we have one of the amulets. Papa, our story is about to change. We'll give the amulet to the king first thing tomorrow morning when the rest of the men set out to Umuachi Kingdom to look for the other one, he finally said, still bubbling with joy. Mr. Ichedioa opened his mouth as if wanting to say something, but caught himself midway and turned to his son. After a thoughtful silence, he said, Okay, my son, we'll give it to the king tomorrow morning, as you have said. Mr. Ichedioa reasoned that maybe that was what the mage meant when she said he would be needing the amulet soon, so he decided to give it to the king. He thanked the gods for giving him a courageous and kind daughter who had brought good fortune to him and their family. They did as planned the next morning, and it turned out to be the exact amulet the king was looking for. As the king had promised, he rewarded Mr. Ichedioa with land, cattle, precious stones, and great fortune. In no time, Mr. Ichedioa became the richest man in all of Amanku, only surpassed by the king himself. He didn't want anything to do with women again, but after noticing his children's fondness for a particular woman who sold batik wares at the village market, and recognizing her kindness and affection toward his children, coupled with his children's constant pressure to get remarried, he, with the consent of his children, married the woman. Meanwhile, the Anawu, whom Mrs. Ichedioa had run off to be with, was found guilty a few years later of conspiring against the king. He was exiled from the village and stripped of his title and all the entitlements offered to him. Life turned from sweet to bitter for Mrs. Ichedioa overnight. She started struggling and became very frustrated, remembering that she had heard some time ago that her husband had gained a lot of fortune from the king and was now very wealthy. She decided to beg for his forgiveness and that of her children. But when she arrived, she found she had no place in the home anymore, as Mr. Ichedioa had moved on and married another woman. Seeing that her husband wasn't even listening to her, she tried appealing to her children. However, her first son dragged her outside, reminding her of all she had done to their father and telling her that she was no longer welcome in the house and should return to where she had come from. He slammed the gate in her face without listening to any further explanations. She stayed outside the gate of her husband's house, crying and blaming herself for not believing in a husband who always loved her despite her wicked deeds. She wished she hadn't done everything she did to him and, at worst, that she hadn't left him. And that, my children, is the end of our story, Matsi Udemba finally said, taking a deep breath as he wrapped up his tale. Well, uncle, I'm glad that Chiamaka, the greedy mother, later got what she deserved, and Mr. Ichedioa remarried at the end, replacing that wicked woman and sealing her out permanently from his life, so he wouldn't have the option of ever accepting her back, probably out of emotion or pity. I really do hope the same fate befalls Ajizi, Kyagozi's mother. How can a mother be so selfish, abandoning? Ibuka was still speaking, fuming over the news he had just heard about his best friend's mother, when Matsi Udemba quickly interrupted him with a gentle tap on his shoulder. I understand how you feel about Kyagozi and his mother, my boy, but you should also remember not to wish bad on others no matter what, just like I have always taught you. Anyways, that's beside the point. Ifani, Matsi Udemba suddenly called, jolting the boy from his deep thoughts. He seemed to have been really reflecting on the story he had just heard. Yes, uncle. What did you learn? Uncle, I learned that sometimes in life, some situations will never change if we keep staying in our comfort zone. We need courage and the ability to take calculated risks to survive and change unpleasant situations, just like the brave and courageous first daughter Amanda did in the story. The family of Mr. Ichedioa had been wailing for months, and that changed nothing. So she understood that something had to be done differently in the family rather than the usual crying and waiting in vain hopes. So she took risks, even defying her father and all odds, and she eventually rewarded her family and even their generations to come with a lifetime void of poverty. Also, Amanda, Ifani was still speaking when Matsi Udemba cut him short with a wave of his hand. That's all right, my boy. You've spoken well. How about you, Ibuka? What did you learn? Well, uncle, I learned that sometimes in life you can solve your own problems and gain favors you don't ordinarily deserve through kindness to others. Like a story Mama Ojo told us one day in the market about a young woman who sells fish. A poor beggar came to the fish seller one night, telling her that she hadn't been able to beg anything that could provide her with even a plate of food for dinner, and pleading with the seller to help her with anything she could. The seller stared at the beggar for a while, put her hand into her purse, and brought out about 20 cowries, which was almost a third of the fish seller's earnings for the day. At that time, the seller, whose name was Ago, was going through a lot of tough times in her business, so much so that she herself couldn't comfortably afford a complete day's meal. Even giving out a penny was very difficult, but she figured the beggar needed the money more than she did and gave it regardless. Guess what happened? What? Go on. Matsi Udemba and the other children chorused simultaneously, eager to know how Ibuka's little tale later wound up. The next time Ago, the fish seller, saw the beggar again, she didn't see her in the usual rags. Instead, the beggar came down from a very nice ride, neatly dressed in the company of a young man who seemed to be her son. The young man was also, coincidentally, the first medical doctor in the village, sponsored abroad by the village king to study medicine due to his great intelligence. The beggar woman stopped in front of a ghost stall, pointed directly at her while talking to the young man with her. Yup, she's the one. Just like that, a ghost's life suddenly transformed for the better. She feeds well, dresses nicely, travels abroad. Mama Ojo even mentioned that Ago and the beggar's son are now happily married in the grand city of Abuja, where she also runs one of the biggest local seafood chain restaurants. So, you see, Ago received something she didn't deserve because of her unconditional kindness, which she most definitely wasn't even expecting a return. Just like Amanda earned the favor of the mage, and consequently solutions to her problems, which she ordinarily wouldn't have been able to solve on her own, through her unintentional assistance to the mage's servant, disguised as the blind old woman. If she hadn't done what she did, she wouldn't have been able to locate the mage in the first place, and her whole journey and sacrifice would have been in vain. Wow, that was such a great story for us all to learn from. Ibuka, I really enjoyed it. You all did very well, Matsu Udemba finally said. He wanted to dismiss them, but then his eyes suddenly drifted to Chidimna, who had been raising her hands enthusiastically since he finished his story. You, Dimna, did you learn something too? The old man asked the little girl, surprised. Chidimna wasn't one to always speak up during gatherings like this, given how shy she was. Yes, uncle, I learned something too, the girl muttered shyly while looking around. I learned that we should not be selfish. We should not be selfish. Was that really part of the morals of this story? I don't think so, but yes, my dear, we should not be selfish.
So don't be selfish. Like this video, pen down your comments, as well as additional moral lessons in the comment box below. Share this video, and most importantly, subscribe to this channel for more African stories with me, Mazi Udemba, and I'll see you in the next video.
They are both in a relationship, but I want it
For myself.
Can you help me, Ichi?
I thought you are in a relationship with my friend Adani.
I never really loved Adani.
I just wanted to use her as a medium to get to you.
She was the bait for the bigger fish.